long or something. Anywho, I gotta make this hot top first. I'm also looking forward to making my Sally halter top because mixing those colors is going to go well with the shorts that I'm making. I did crochet up some granny squares last year, I think, to make some granny square shorts. And I was wondering what top I was gonna make for it. I think that'd be an excellent top idea to make with the granny squares shorts. Um, Book talk. Okay, so yesterday, if it's, I don't know what date it is at the moment, I didn't look. Okay, Saturday, this past Saturday, if it's not Saturday anymore, um, I finished reading Blood Slaves. Okay, so I did say spoilers in the title. Okay, just in case. Just in case. All right, just in case. Right now, here is my theory, or not, well, yeah, theory or idea, suggestion. When the group got together and was talking about their plan, their choices, like they were coming up with a plan, talking about their choices, and they really only kind of seemed to had one, no, two choices. First, it did seem like they only had one choice, but then it seemed like they had two choices. So I think due to them having two choices, I went with I went with the second choice. Yeah, I about went with the first choice. Kind of, sort of. I was listening, but also I was listening to the second choice, and I was like, yeah, that is right. That would be playing into the hater's hand, and that's not freedom. That's death. So I chose the second group. Now, after everybody chose their groups and such, I thought of something. Now here's my creative thought. What if they turned the other? What if they turned the other? How do I say this? Instead of them becoming vampires, what if they turned the plantation um, master into a vampire and then put them in a cage in the daytime? What if they turn why so they could be vulnerable? Turn them into vampires and put them in a spot where the sun gonna shine, and bada boom. Like that was my thought. That was my creative process thinking. Nobody else came up with that. The book didn't say that. That's just what I was thinking. I don't know. No, I ain't. Oh my goodness. I was like, well, why not just turn them into vampires and put them where the sun, when the sun come up, and then voila, they gone, they poof, you know. Shoot. Um, why not do that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that. I don't know what that would entail, or if there's like, if there would be consequences to that. Like, I don't know if they would like turn around and be like too strong before the sun came up and able to escape. But I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so. No, no, cause they kind of weak after they turn into vampires. They need to feed and stuff like that. So if they turned them into vampires and then didn't do the whole process of them feeding and getting strong, I would think that they could just turn the master, turn the master, turn the master, and whoever else they want, the overseers, turn the master and the overseers into vampires and put them where the sun shine, and voila. Put them in the cage that they had the other vampire at. So I don't know if they would, if their senses would kick in and they burrow under the ground. That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking of like flaws, like if they was to try to turn them into vampires and put them in the cage, like would they get the knowledge quick enough to be able to burrow themselves underground so that they could be protected from the sun? That's a possibility. Uh, Anywho, that was my suggestion, my creative suggestion while I was reading it. Um, like I mentioned earlier, I chose Team Gertie. I chose to live. That's what I did. I chose to live. Um, because I was like, yeah, if you die, you just playing into the hands of the haters. They don't want you there. They don't want you breathing the same air. So if y'all turn into vampires, you dead and you ain't breathing air. So they winning. Ugh, I chose life. I chose life. I don't know. I don't know who. I would have to. Maybe I have to message the person that recommended me this book to see what she chose. Did she choose the vampire ways? Because maybe her experience. Well, she did have a different experience from me. Maybe she chose the vampire way. That's maybe why she was hyped. I chose the life way, so I was, I was, a, I don't know, I was a bit distraught. I don't know. I had the POV of Gertie. I was like, I hear you, Gertie. I hear you. I also like that Gertie was coming to her senses about she thought that if she could do good, that good would become of her situation. So on the screen, got anyone watching from another country? So I do like that she was coming to the conclusion that no matter how much good she did, she still was gonna be treated the way she was being treated by the overseers and the master. And I think I about cried during that time when she was coming to the conclusion, especially when they was at church. I cried when they was at church. I think I might have cried while they were going to church. I cried while they were leaving the church. Oh my goodness. Um, I'm glad they took Gertie away. And it seemed like Gertie was going to join in, but we didn't get that POV of her. Um, we just got her revelation, and then it blurred to another character's POV. So in that, I think that was chapter 37. Between 37 and 43, it was a lot of scenes going like to sum it up. It was they was like blurred, like they was going as fast as the characters in the scene. Like they were blurring as well. So it yeah, I wasn't hyped when it finally came. I guess for I guess you could say for showdown. I wasn't hyped because I kind of was like, enough is enough. I mean, like the whole book was sad. I'm sitting up there crying. Well, not the whole book, but it was certain scenes in the book. And when I was ready to pop off, it wasn't time to pop off. So had I popped off when I wanted to pop off and talk back, when I had started to talk back, there would have been consequences and repercussions because it was like a whole nother day and a whole nother night and whatever else before things really popped off. Like, it was only 2 more hours in the book. I'm like, this some freckle nigga bull. Like, I done read, how many hours was that book? 11 hours? So between 11 hours, the last 2 hours were the hours of action. So what's that? 7, 8. The rest of the book was tragic, tragic. And I was like, you want me to be hyped with just 2 hours of action? I don't know. And then it went fast, and then it went, it went, it went quick. It went it went POV. This the person POV. This the person POV. And then we didn't go back. And then, but like I said, you did hear what was going on in the background of somebody else's POV, kind of, sort of, not really, but it is mentioned. So when it goes to the next person's POV, it's like, okay, what happened? That's why I kept reading those chapters over and over again because I'm like, did I miss something? But anyways, that's just me. That's just me. If you guys read it, I'm pretty sure you probably will have a ball because it's vampires, it's revenge, it's blood, it's guts, it's it got that in there. It got that in there. I just it's in there. It's in there. And it it does end in the slaves' favor. So they're not slaves anymore. They're free people. Yay. I just feel like Gertie, she was, she was just like, I don't feel like Gertie, but I do understand Gertie. I understand where she's coming from. I do. So I guess, yeah, I could say I feel like Gertie. Yeah, I feel like Gertie. And so yeah, Gertie had her feelings about it too. She was she so yeah. If you read the book and you hear Gertie, yeah, that's I could just sum it up and be like, yeah, that's pretty much yeah. I'm Team Gertie. So yeah, but she was understanding. She did see it for herself, so that's good. She didn't keep lying to herself that things was gonna get better if she's the best she can be. You know, if she just keep doing good, keep keep her head down, be quiet, don't talk back. She felt like if she did those things, that one day she was hoping that it would be all good, it would be all better and stuff like that. But really, it got worse. Ugh. So yeah. Um, there's action. It was my first. Is it? Well, was it my first slave book? My first. It's about a slave, and it's about vampires. So it was my first book about a slave and about vampires, and it was like um, yeah, like a historical piece, kind of, sort of. But it kind of ticked me off a little bit. Like, okay, so when the indigenous, what they call them native, when the native man saw them and he shot his bow and arrow at at them, I was like, why you ain't shoot your bow and arrow at um what's the overseer's name? Ma- Monroe. Why you didn't shoot your bow and arrow at Monroe? Ugh, that made me so oof. I was ooh. Oh boy. Oh, that ain't made no sense. I was boy. I was oh it, I was ticked. I was ticked a little bit that Monroe got away. It would have been sufficient for me had they all went night night right there, and Monroe wouldn't been able to get back. But when Monroe was able to gallop away, I was like, man, like, dang, he got away. And he, if the native had a shot his bow and arrow at, at him, he would have maybe got him, then it would have been, it would have, it would have been a different book. It would have been a different book. It would have been a different book. That's all. That's it. That's all. So it would have been a different book. So yeah, the native didn't. The native shot his arrow at. Um, his name was Willie. He shot it at Willie. I'm like, what you did that for? Like, and then Willie was like, what you did that for? And he already knew about. He already knew about the settlers and da 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 and rah rah rah, and because the settlers had pushed them out into the woods. Uh, Whoever they didn't off. So yeah, whoever they didn't off and whoever survived, they wound up getting pushed into the woods and stuff like that. And he already knew the history. He had a history with the father of James. They had a history with the like the generation before um, the slave master of their generation. So it would have made sense that the native would um, clock Monroe, but no, we gotta create conflict, I guess. So Monroe got away and was able to alert whoever he was able to alert. So yeah, it wasn't it it wasn't something else, because if Monroe had not have been able to go back and tell everybody, and then James had a party and he had other people there, so I'm like, oh my goodness, like now more people know. um so I was like, dang, that could be a bad thing, if Monroe go back and tell, and not, and now it's not just at the plantation, but it's other people that's visiting the plantation and they know about it, and I'm like, oh fudge, like, so whatever. So it's like it's bigger now. I guess, like the stakes are bigger, whatever, whatever, because that's the scene. The scene was set that way anyway. Just set it all up. So I was like, okay. So yeah, I was a bit perturbed with Monroe getting away and going back and telling everybody at the party what he seen. So yeah, he was able to tell what he seen and experienced. James didn't believe him, was gonna write him off. So I was like, yeah, yeah, don't believe him, yeah. But he was convincing, and then like somebody else was like, yeah, he telling the truth. Do 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 boo de boo de boo. And then how they had an encounter of of the of the vampires and such. So they believed James. So um, they would made plans and such. Uh, so that they can have silver and such to combat. Hold on, where's my? Okay, here we go. So they can combat the vampires with the silver. So I'm like, oh man, I'm like, dang man, like if Monroe had not have been able to say what he saw, they wouldn't have been able to get their plans together and get silver and such, da da da. I was like, man. So they had planned on getting like some silver swords and stuff like that, like the next day. But they did have like so I was like, y'all gotta get there today, y'all gotta get there tonight, y'all gotta do y'all thing. So I don't think they went that night. I don't think they popped off that night. Let me think. I think they popped off the next day. So they ain't even pop off when I wanted them to. Like I had kind of like how so to say jump. I had jumped to it. Like it was like two times I was like ready to pop out and they weren't ready and I was just like, okay then. Well, let me just read the book and see what the book gonna give instead of me being hyped. So when things was ready, I I I I didn't feel like well I felt like Gertie like I was tucked away. I was safely tucked away. Yes, how about that? Okay, we safely tucked away because they handling it. Let them handle it. Okay, good. We safely tucked away. Um, yeah, it was silverware on the on the on the table. So like the silverware, the utensils were made of real silver. So they had some silver at their disposal, and they also had silver belt buckles and silver daggers. I think that was a silver dagger. So they had some things made of silver that they could utilize against the vampires already without being fully prepared with the swords that they were gonna use. Now, yeah. So when I heard when I heard the hot box, Gertie being put in the hot box, I thought the Django when it was a character in the Django that was put in the hot box. And I kept rewinding it. I kept rereading it. Um, the character named Patch that they would call Patchy. I think that's what they would call her. They would call her Patchy due to an incident that had happened. Um, she she wore a patch. Oh my goodness, her character and what she went through, and then what she did, and then what happened, and I kept rereading that scene because I was like, huh, what, like, who did that? Was that James that did that, or was that Monroe that did that? I was trying to keep up with who did what. It is fast paced. It is very fast paced. Um, it's a even pace. It's a alright pace. I just was just like, who did that? Because when it happens, it feel like it happened quickly. I'm like, wait, what? What? Who did that? It was somebody with a sword did that to her. How? Okay, so at the end of the book, before I was gonna talk about the end of the book, how they made their own opening was so cool. That house, that house was big. Is it called a house? I guess it's called a plantation. I don't know. Is the land called a plantation or the building called a plantation? Like, they couldn't locate where James was, but I think if they was to use their focus, they would have been able to. They didn't use their focus. They didn't hone in on the on his heartbeat, and they didn't do like the skill thingies that they had been practicing before. They didn't take the time to hone in and focus to locate the door where he was at, unless he just was tucked away so that they couldn't. So anywho, they made their own opening. Now Penelope and her mama what what time of the day is her mama going out to visit Penelope? Like, I'm thinking it would be daytime. Penelope popped up out of there like it's 19. Unless you gonna realize that it's daytime. I don't know when her mama went out there. And I listened to that chapter 36 and chapter 43 backwards and forwards. Forwards and backwards. I think I might be ready for for book two though. So yeah, it's a good time to go ahead and read book one because book two will be released August 25th. 2026. I did read the description of the other book that was suggested in this book, and it's called This Monster of Mine. I won't be reading that book. No, 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 no. And it's by Sha Lini, Shalini, and her last name is uh, Ab Abbas Abasura AB something. Yeah, I won't be reading that book. I read the description of that, and that's not my judge. Yeah, no, that's not my judge. No, no, thank you. No, thank you. So I did start reading Onyx Storm after I read a bit of um, Jurassic Park. So yeah, I started Onyx Storm, and oh my goodness, Soren Gale just up and about, like good. She is just so up and about. She done came a mighty long way from the fragile character that she was in the first book. So I started that book. Um, that's the update on my reading. Oh yeah, I just seen some people posting about a a new edition of it, a new edition book cover of the book It. It's the 40th anniversary. Lord have mercy. It's the 40th anniversary of the It novel, and it's a few new covers. It's like about four new covers of that book. Um, and book sleeves. There's one with a book sleeve, and there's a couple with sprayed edges, and there's different editions. And there's one book, I'm like, why is it so big? I don't know why it's so big. I don't know. I don't know why it's so thick. The book, the copy that I had, it wasn't that thick. It was this new edition. So I don't know what this new edition entails other than the new artwork. Now, somebody did show their It book collection, and they did have like the smaller, considerably smaller edition like I had, versus this larger edition. And I'm like, why is it larger? Like, is it because it's large print? But when I saw the pages being flipped, it didn't look large print. So I don't know why it's so thicker. Unless it's paper. Paper, the different paper. I don't know. I don't know. Unless it's the movie into a book, like chapter 1 and chapter 2 of the new movie. I don't know. Um, um, so far, only people, they're only sharing like the covers. They're only showing it, like the cover art, the inside art. They're not talking about what lies between the pages. They're not talking about, oh, this is from the new movie series, or oh, this is from the show. Like they're not giving the details as though it's like the original story, but with a different cover. That's how they're showing it. But I'm like, well, why is it so thick? Why does it look so thicker? Like, why is it so big? I don't know. Other than the different, it could be the different paper that's being used. Is why it's so thicker, bigger. Anywho, yeah, I don't know. And then I can't ask some people because some people hadn't even read the book. They got the new book for the art cover, but they've never read it. So I can't even ask. They wouldn't even know the answer to the question. I guess I don't know. So yeah, that's that. Um, I did watch the first season of Welcome to Dairy. It wasn't on my list to watch, but I watched it anyway. Oh my goodness. I watched it anyway. Because a lot of the people that I watch reactions from, they were watching it. So I would watch it with them. don't know if I'm gonna watch the next season though. I see somebody saying that they waited. They're waiting to see the next season. I don't know if I want to watch the next season. It wasn't on my list. I tell you that. It wasn't on my list. It wasn't on my list. I was like, I was like, he didn't get that right the first time. He ain't finna, talking about he finna go back in time and do stuff. I was like, I was like, well, if you can go back in time and do stuff, I can go back in time and do stuff. Shoot. And I did watch the movie. It would a watch along, and I was kind of relating the movie to the show. And I was like, that's supposed to be rock. That's supposed to be what's her name? Marge, Margaret, Margaret. Is her name Margaret or Marge? Richie's mama. In the show, she little. In the movie, she said that to Beverly. I was like, oh heck no, what she said that to Beverly for? That's that's Richie Mama. That's supposed to be Margaret, whatever her name is, Marjorie. I was like, dang, she said that to Beverly. Oh man, she just don't forget. She just don't forget, ain't she? She just don't forget. Like, dang. Mm-mm. And maybe she was giving, what's his name? What did I just say? Ricky? Maybe she was giving Ricky gazebos so that um, they wouldn't have an effect on him, so that he could be ready to defeat it. Cause she knew he was gonna defeat it. She knew she was gonna have Ricky, and Ricky was gonna help defeat it. So instead of giving him anything real, she gave him gazebos. So when he needed to pop off, he could pop off. So in this new season of in the new season of it, it's gonna be like a whole new cast. Like it's gonna be like characters we hadn't seen before. I don't guess. Like in the previous one, we were we knew about those characters. We had seen them before. So that's what made it like, ooh, we get to see more of, what's his name, Doc. We got to see more of Doc. That was cool. That was real cool to see more of Doc. He's a cool character, and then to get to see him, and that was cool. That was excellent. And then to be around the characters that we knew, and got to see them have their what do you call it, their pre pre what's it called, prequel. Yeah, yeah. Oh wow, that was like, yeah, that was the appearance of the two. That was the appearance of the children that we saw in the movies. So that was cool. And with Doc, I don't know who gonna be in the next season. Like I don't know if he gonna bring in characters from his other books from the next season for the next season. Like if it's gonna be any of the characters from his other books, or are they gonna all be new? Wonderful row is rippling. I had seen Friday the 13th. Um, One day after the previous day, I had seen Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, when I saw Friday the 13th, I thought it was Nightmare on Elm Street, and the person that I was watching it with, they was like, they thought it was too. I was like, yeah, I thought it was too. And then just because like we had seen Nightmare on Elm Street first, so when we saw Friday the 13th, we just knew Friday the 13th was Nightmare on Elm Street. Um, until we were told otherwise, and it was explained to us that Friday the 13th is Jason, and Nightmare on Elm Street is Freddy. And we was like, oh yeah, oh, okay, yeah. So we was watching it, and a while ago now, we had watched part one. I think we was watching part two. Yeah, that's kind of why we thought it was Freddy, because we had just watched Freddy 1. So we was watching that. But anyways, I got to thinking, because Jason mama, she was off the chain. She was off the charts. A wrestling duo. I could see the way she put on. I could see her as a wrestler, and her and Freddie be the duo that they are. I don't know if she a wrestler or not, but I think she would make a good wrestler. The way she carried on. that movie. I was like, has there been a duo like them? I think it has. I think it's been a mother son duo, I think, in wrestling. Um, what was that? And Jason got one move in part two. I was like, how in the hula hay did he do that? How, let me see the behind the scenes on that scene. He was up in a tree and he reached down to the dude that had on the hat that was standing behind the tree. He reached down with one hand and then with two hands and with two hands, but the rest of his body was up in the tree and he was high. He was high above in the tree because he was higher than the person standing next to the tree. Like how he got his legs in the tree and then his upper body down like that. Like how he did that? Like he would have had to been backwards. Cause he wouldn't have been forward, would he? Because how his hands went round about that man's head, it was facing. So yeah, when I realized that the book last 2 hours in the book, I was like, is that gonna be enough? Is that gonna be enough time to do all the things that need to be done? And it is fast paced, action packed, fast paced, action packed in those last 2 hours from what chapter 36 to chapter 43. It's action packed. So if you're looking for a book that is action packed, uh, Blood Slaves is action packed. You can check it. You can get it at my bookshop.org link. Oh, yeah, you can get that at my bookshop.org link. And you can choose the format you would like to enjoy it in.